So, Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to Madam Saloma. Today, me and my fellow group members are going to present about dengue, why it is not stopping and how to stop it. So, our group members consist of Saif, Grace, Mildred, Diana, Izian, Yusrana, and me myself, Patricia. So, these are our tasks. We are given to discuss why dengue is still persists and what are the control measures that can be implemented to overcome this problem. So these are our outline of presentation. We're going to talk about the definition of dengue, the statistic, how it spread, and why the disease still persists, complication, and strategies to prevent dengue. So what is dengue? Based on WHO, dengue is a mosquito-borne viral infection causing a severe flu-like illness and sometimes causing a potentially lethal complications called severe dengue. So let's look at the pictures. So these are the cumulative cases for each year from 1995 to November 2019. So last year, 2019 in December, a total of 2,684 cases were reported, bringing the highest cumulative dengue cases in history from Malaysia, which is 130,101 cases. So in this year itself, latest update on week 32, a total of 1,807 cases were reported, bringing the cumulative dengue cases in Malaysia to 66,199 cases as of 8 August 2020.
Okay, now we proceed to how the dengue is spread. Dengue is spread by the female mosquito called Aedes aegypti. It is a small and dark mosquito, and it can be identified by the white bands on its legs and a silver-white pattern of scale on its body. This mosquito is a daytime feeder, especially in the morning and in the evening before that. An infection can be occur via a single bite from this mosquito, and the female mosquito who take blood meal from the infected person will become infected in the cell of its intestine. And then it transmits the virus to another human during another feeding session. And for your information, this mosquito can fly up to 400 meters to look for breeding place, but usually remain close to the human habitation. Okay, now I will explain the transmission of dengue fever. Actually, the infection cycle of dengue fever is cyclic, where firstly, the virus is transmitted to the human from the mosquito saliva, and as the virus enter the human body, it will replicate in the target organ, and this virus will infect the white blood cell and lymphatic tissue of the human, and it then release and circulate in the bloodstream. So when another mosquito ingests blood from the infected person, the dengue virus are ingested along with the blood. The virus then replicate in the mosquito midgut and other organ and infect the salivary gland. And the virus replicate in the salivary gland and transmit the virus to human in the next feeding session. And this cycle will be repeated all over again. And I think that's all from me. I pass to the next presenter.
My name is Siti Nuriana binti Perchen. I will present about the discussion on why dengue still persists despite many strategies has been taken to prevent it. So after the discussion, we came out with the point of the negligence of members in a community to do environmental management initiative. According to Nature Education 2014, mosquito population can be reduced when all members of a community clear block gutters and street drain and keep the yard free of container with standing water. Any open container should be empty and cleaned each week to eliminate mosquito eggs and larvae. This effort can reduce the number of mosquitoes living in the area. So, like for example, if only one member in that community has been neglected his or her job in taking part in the environmental management initiative, she or he can become the cause why the mosquitoes still successful breeding. And when this mosquito successful breeding and become an adult mosquito, it can bite anyone in that community. So basically, when there is only one person has been affected by the dengue, there is high probability and high chances for everyone in that community to also getting the disease. So the next point is the lack of awareness and knowledge about personal action to reduce contact with mosquito. So basically from this literature, people can reduce the risk of mosquito entering their home by using window and door screen or by keeping their doors and window closed and using air conditioning to keep their homes cool. Aedes aegypti typically bite people during the day, so wearing long pants and long sleeve shirt can reduce mosquito bite when spending time outdoors. In addition, mosquito repellent can be applied to exposed skin and clothing to lower the risk of mosquito bite. There are many ways to protect ourselves from dengue. So let's say my previous scenario has been happened, which is one member has been neglected his or her job in taking part in the environmental management initiative. So then a person has been affected by dengue. This supposedly not become an issue because you know how to protect yourself from dengue. However, if the member of the community also didn't know how to protect themselves, then the dengue can be spreading to everyone in that community. So basically, the main point why this disease still persists even though there are many strategies has been taken is because people in our society didn't know and didn't aware how to take care themselves, how to protect themselves from getting bitten by mosquito and getting dengue. So as the saying goes on, to prevent something, to prevent a disease from occurring, it should start with ourselves first.
So I will explain about the discussion on why the problem which dengue remain a public health problem despite strategies taken to curb this disease still persists. So dengue fever that caused by any of the four closely related to the dengue viruses is a virus transmitted by Aedes mosquito. Originating in monkeys, dengue viruses are transmitted to humans between 100 to 800 years ago. And dengue remained a relatively minor and geographically restricted disease until 1950s when epidemics occurred in the Philippines and Thailand. So the dengue has emerged as a worldwide problem, with a 30-fold increase in the incidence globally in the past 50 years. So the dengue is regarded as the most prevalent and rapidly spreading mosquitoes borne viral disease of humans. So it is found in at least 100 tropical and subtropical countries, including countries in Africa, such as Asia, the Western Pacific, the Americas, the Caribbean, and the Eastern Mediterranean regions. So why is actually the dengue still persists? Is virus spread by mosquito. So there are so many mosquitoes in this world that thrive in and human logins. When a mosquito bites a person infected with a dengue virus, the virus enters that person's bloodstream. So many people living and traveling in a tropical areas, which is Southeast Asia. Next is dirty places such as stagnant water inside tires or blocked drain can cause the breeding of mosquitoes and increase the dengue cases in the world. So next, no vaccine is actually exists to prevent dengue infection, nor are there specific medication to treat the disease. So the most effective protective measures are those that prevent mosquito bites, namely vector control. That's it. Thank you.
Next, we will talk about the complication of the dengue fever. So, as you know, the patient is get infected from the Aedes mosquito. So, if the patient is not treated well, it will have some possibility for having complication from the dengue fever, such as dengue hemorrhagic fever, whereby it will have some bleeding under the skin and also frequent vomiting, abdominal pain, mild, moderate, or high fever, pain in muscles, bones, or joints, or also some rashes on the skin. So this is some of the signs and symptoms from the dengue hemorrhagic fever. If the patient is not well managed, the complication, so it will get more worse, such as the patient will have possibility for experience seizures, brain damage, blood clot, damage to the liver and lungs, shock, and also death.
My name is Mijert. I'm going to present the first part of strategies to prevent dengue. First is Geographical Information System Mapping of Dengue Foci, whereas GIS is a database that will capture, store, analyze, and display data that related by a common spatial coordinate system. We can use this system to visualize the surveillance data of dengue. We also can identify the location of dengue concentration and its distribution or changes of the cases in the particular area using this system. So the benefits of this system in dengue prevention are, it's helped us to come out with a better surveillance and program for community-based intervention. It's also advocating public health professionals to increase their resources. Lastly, it helps us to visualize the identified area at risk instantly, which can help us to mobilize the resources with faster. Next is community-based control programs, whereas the specific programs will be conducted into a particular community, especially community that has dengue cases. First foremost, we must select the site based on the similarities in the socio-environmental characteristic, which has related with a febrile diseases or the presence of the vector. After that, we must identify the appropriate activity based on the community level of education and the level of understanding towards the dengue fever. Only then we can conduct those selected activities. Several common activities that can be done in the community are educational talks, drawing contests, poster, or door-to-door visits. It's really helpful in dengue prevention because it involves the whole community in every age. It's also helped us to increase community knowledge, it can help us to promote the awareness and behavior changing in dengue prevention. Lastly, it helps us to destroy the breeding site in a large scale because it involves the whole community. Lastly, sterile insect technique, which is the laboratory sterilized male vector will be released into the targeted population. The release this kind of male mosquitoes will mating with the female mosquitoes, but in the end, it will resulting no offspring, which can lead into the control of vector density and transmission of vector-borne diseases. So it's also beneficial in dengue prevention because it's not only control the mosquitoes, but it control others high-profile insect pests like fruit fly, screwworm, or moths. It also helps us to protect horticultural and livestock industry because it helps us to prevent the attacks of pests. Lastly is it helps us to enhance environmental protection because the use of insecticide can be reduced when we use this type of technique. So this is the first part. The second part will be continue with the next presenter. Thank you.
Okay, next, we are looking into the next strategy to prevent dengue. It is known as vector control or also integrated vector management or IVM. This is to control mosquito vectors, including those of dengue. Why is it IVM? Why we use IVM to control dengue? It is actually to improve efficacy, cost effectiveness, ecological soundness, and sustainability. The target should be AE ejected in its measure, such as egg, larva, or pupa. Next strategy is individual and household protection. So it is self-initiative for source reduction in homes and community. For example, clothing that minimize skin exposure during daylight hours when mosquitoes are most effective for some protection from the bites of dengue vectors and is encouraged particularly during outbreaks. Its repellent may be applied to exposed skin to clothing. The use of repellent must be in strict accordance with label instructions. Insecticide-treated mosquito nets offer good protection for those who sleep during the day. For example, infants, bedridden, or night shift workers. Where indoor beatings occurs, household insecticide aerosol products, mosquito coils, or other insecticide vaporizer may also reduce beating activity. So household features such as window and door screens and air conditioning. So the last one that we can use to prevent dengue is safe use of insecticides. So all pesticides are toxic to some degree. Safety precaution for the use, including care in handling of pesticides, safe work practices for those who apply them, and appropriate field application should be followed. So that's all for the prevention of dengue. So I think that's it from me.
So lastly, as a summary, dengue is a mosquito viral borne infection transmitted by a female mosquito named Aedes aegypti through mosquito saliva. So dengue is still occurring until this day due to dirty surroundings such as stagnant water, which may promote mosquito breeding. No existence of vaccines, negligence of community in cleaning the environment, lack of awareness and knowledge regarding dengue. So the complication of dengue varies, such as bleeding under the skin, seizures, and even may cause death. So there are few strategies that can be made to overcome dengue, such as implementing geographical information system, GIS, community-based control programs, sterile insect techniques, vector control, individual and household protection, and safe use of insecticides. In conclusion, everyone, no matter residents, individual, or government, need to play their role in order to stop this dengue disease. Thank you. So this is our reference. So I say thank you again for listening to our presentation.